Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Now you can hear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, madam.
I see Sana is smiling. So okay. So in this prayer, we are praying Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya. Huh? Kripa Bindu Diya. Bindu means a drop. A drop. Bindu. Kripa means mercy, and Diya. He's saying, please give me one drop of mercy. Then what is that mercy? What is he praying for mercy for? Then he says, Kara e dasi, that you make me a servant. This is your mercy. If you can make me a servant, this is your mercy. This is the mercy I am praying for. One drop of this. Make me a little bit in the mood of serving. And the whole realm of spirit opens up when we can develop this mood of service, because material means I am the dominator. Everything is dominated by me. And spiritual means everything dominates me. The higher is there. And to be aware, to be conscious of that higher atmosphere. Not the lower atmosphere that I predominate, but the higher atmosphere that predominates me. That transition, that transfer from being the Lord of all I survey to being the servant of the Lord who surveys me. So he's saying, Kripa Bindu Diya, give me one drop of mercy. Kara e dasi. Dasi means, servant. Kara, make me. Kara. Make me your servant. Make me a servant. Then I can have some entrance into the sacred, into the higher world. And he said, Trina Peksha Ati Dina. Give me that humility of a grass. The grass is so humble. Everyone is trampling upon it. It doesn't protest. Is it possible to come to that kind of mentality? No matter who tramples upon me, I'm not considering that. That's not my worry. I like that everyone will trample upon me, that I can support others, the whole world, the whole environment. I can support that. I can serve that purpose, higher thing. Then, Sakala Sahane Baladiya Koro. Make me free from any desire for personal honor. Nijamani Spriyahina. Give me the strength to do all that. To tolerate everything and free from any desire for honor. What happens if in your life nobody gives you any recognition? Nobody honors you. What will you feel? Will you feel depressed? Nobody pays any attention to you. Nobody honors you. Nobody recognizes you as of any importance. Then we'll feel, what is the life? What is the use of this life? That's all ego. Devotee doesn't look for honor. Doesn't care that nobody honors him or her. He wants to give honor to others, that's all. So Mahaprabhu made this the first request in the Shikshastakam. Chanadapi Sanichena, Tarodapi Sahishto Amanina Manadena. Amanina means I don't want anyone's mind or honor for myself. Amanina. Amanadena means to give your mind, give your attention to others. Amanina, amanadena. One who can come to that stage of amanina, amanadena. I'm not looking for honor. I want to give honor. Then the sacredness of reality comes to him or her. The sacredness of it all. We're all looking to be considered sacred. That I want to be honored. I am sacred. I am of higher order than others. But when I can not look for honor and to give honor, then the sacredness of the environment and of everyone becomes clear. This recapturing of the sacredness of all things, of our own sacredness and of the sacredness of everything, it begins like this. Dear Guru Dev, you are higher than me. And if you give your mercy, he's not asking for knowledge, he's not asking for anything else. Mercy. Mercy is a very personal thing, not based on justice or any calculation. Beyond all of that, mercy. So if I get that from another person, Gurudev, some people are saying, why do I need Guru? I can do all these things on my own. I can read books, I can learn. But those processes don't produce this one thing, getting that mercy from a person, that sacredness. It doesn't come. And so we can never come to that taste simply by reading books and all those other things. We need the person of Gurudev, a person. And once we learn how to get that personal transmission, heart-to-heart transmission, there we will find spiritual life. Spiritual life can take root and it can grow. It can grow. Once we learn that secret by the mercy of Gurudev, and Kara Dasi, and he, by his grace, will make me a servant. Teach me how to be a servant. And there, he will also teach us how to be humble as a soul, how to be strong in that tolerating so many things. We'll be able to learn those things, those most basic, I call the ABCs. ABCs of spiritual life will come. Without those things, people can think they're engaged in spiritual life, but that's not. Won't be the right. They won't have the right basis on how they can engage in spiritual life. Or you see everything is more sacred than yourself, and also we are sacred also, but in a very humble way. Very humble way. That's the approach to the sacred. Humility, tolerance, and giving honor to others. Not looking for our own worship. Not expecting the world to look at us. The world belongs to Krishna. We belong to Krishna. How to establish a firm root in that conception. So what Bhakti Yoga is saying here is that he's just repeating the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he says, Sakale samana karite sakati deyanata yata tavihtaga iba harinama sukhe aparada habehata. Aparada, is offenses. And then he's saying, if you give me these things, how to be humble, be a servant, be a humble and tolerant, to give honor to others, then I can constantly chant the holy name, Harinama Sukhe. I'll be happy chanting the holy name all the time. Who has these qualities? Not trying to enjoy the whole world. Being very humble. The holy name comes, wants to chant itself through your lip, through your tongue. Krishna loves such a humble devotee. I want to come, sing always the holy name, Harinama Sukhe. The devotee experiences great happiness chanting the holy name. And aparad, habinate, hata, that offenses, what is causing us to not be able to relish the name? What is causing us to not be able to serve the devotees? This is aparad. We are somehow offending. We're in an offensive mentality. Not sincere to actually put these ABCs into practice. Genuine affection, honor of the devotees must be there. Not only devotees, all. When we have that, we can see the holiness in others. We can see Krishna, that sacredness in others. If we are always looking envious or greedy or whatever, proud, we're always trying to see the faults in others. Those faults are ours. Whatever faults we're finding, they're ours. Don't think they belong to that person or anyone or anything. They are really our own. That's what we're saying. But we won't. We're in denial. Maya means to be in denial. That what we're seeing is coming from our own self. So to be able to uproot that kind of viciousness within ourselves, we have to look at it that way. That's my viciousness and not there in the world. Then we can begin the proper process of aparad, habihate, of getting rid of all these aparads, offenses, and then come happily to chanting Hare Krishna and engaging in devotional service very nicely. Then, what else? When will the soul attain such mercy and become fulfilled? O Master, I am devoid of ability and intelligence and greatly distressed. So you kindly accept me. Mystical process is there. Mystical process. By affection of the Guru, by pleasing Guru, somehow or other, the atmosphere will transform. Will be transformed. That is our faith. Krishna Kesava Prabhu we were talking today. As some people have so much criticism of Shastra, of Krishna, of God, of Christianity, whether it would be Christianity or whatever religion, they think it's all this or that or the other thing. And they have no nothing positive, no right reason, nothing to say about those things that are positive, that are accepting. And they can find so many kinds of, what's the matter? Kusham can't hear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. And they have absolutely no reason, no history, nothing. They can see any reason why this God thing and religion and the scripture, all these things, why they find so many faults in this. That history doesn't confirm what Jesus did, and they have so many evidences and so forth and so on. And everything is all, just some kind of a big story that people are making up. And it has no rationale or evidence to support any of it. And so they're thinking like that. But faith in Krishna, faith in God, is not based on any of those things. People who are able to relate to God, relate to Krishna, not based, really it's not based on any kind of reason. Maybe some reason we make what do they call that? Whatever we try, we may have some argumentation or whatever that we put forward. Huh? Justification, whatever you want to call it. Rationalization, that's the word I'm looking for. We may have some rationalization why we accept that there is God or whatever. But it has nothing to do with that, actually. Faith in God is a very personal thing and a very individual thing. Some have that and some don't, that's all. And we know that according to one Sukriti, according to scripture, one Sukriti, one may have that faith by the good deeds they have performed in past lives or whatever. They will just have that. And that is not an artificial thing, and it's not an intellectual thing or whatever. That is a fundamental thing. The faith is there, and that's what carries the devotee. And from that faith, there is actual experience of that world of faith, the things that belong to that world. And it's not a question of historical confirmation or philosophical explanation or anything like that. Those things may be found to support that faith, that justify or rationalize that faith, as we call it, but not necessary. And whatever anyone says in a rational or historical way or something, it doesn't mean anything to a devotee. Because he knows, or she knows, what is that? What is important? What is significant? What is substantial? There's no question of that. So those who unfortunately do not have that faith, they will find all other types of excuses not to have, not to believe. What can be done?
Maharaj,
Yes?
you have explained, little while ago about, the devotee should be finding fault in oneself and the fault not finding in others. But Maharaj, I find myself a fault finder in the sense, when we go out and do preaching, always, we say, you should do that, you do like this, eating meat or whatever. Say to them all those things. So,
Yes.
how to harmonize that?
Well, we have to, first of all, we have to understand our own fallen position. Then we can understand the fallen position of others. Yes, others are also fallen. But like me, I have to be compassionate. I expect, although I am fallen, I want others to treat me in a kind way. I may not be able to understand everything very nicely, but I hope that others will try to be nice to me, to explain to me what is the right thing. So in that way, we have to approach others in the same mood, very nicely, try to help them. Not that I think I know everything and then they don't know anything and then I abuse them. uh, in a humble way, recognizing our own, what it means to be fallen, and then trying to help those who are also to come to a higher understanding. Uh, I know, difficult. I also have that problem. Sometimes talking to someone and they're not listening, and we want to rationally explain to them what's going on, and they can't understand even reason or whatever, and they think they're very stupid, very unintelligent, that they can understand what you can so clearly see. But that's rationalism, and not mercifulness. Mm. So we have to overcome all these things. These are our own faults that make us unable to handle those things in others. What we see in others so strongly is actually within our own self. And to understand how that is also a process of purification. When we see that whatever we see in the world is coming from my own heart, that is also a process of purification. What I am seeing is my way of seeing things, not necessarily the way things are outside of me. We contribute to all of that. The world is like the mirror of the heart. It says the heart is the mirror of the world, but the world is the mirror of the heart.
Yeah.
So here he's saying that when I examine myself, I have no qualification.
Sorry.
Then your mercy is everything. If I feel I have some qualifications, then what does it need of mercy? I'm not asking for mercy, then I'm trying to give mercy to others if I think I'm qualified. So in order to understand how to get mercy, we have to feel ourselves unqualified, unable to give anything to anyone. And then maybe we can approach others looking for their mercy, looking for them, how to help me become a very good soul, pure soul. Don't see the fault in others, see it in yourself. Then you'll be looking to others. Oh, how can you help me? How can you help me become like you? How can I come to that position whereby I see everything is very nice? Everyone is very nice. And then all these bad things in my own mind will be suffused, suppressed, or dissolved. And everything is very beautiful. Even demons, we're reading in the other day, Krishna Keshava was reading in Bhagavatamrita how Sanatana Goswami was saying there are even demons in the spiritual world. They're also serving Krishna. They have their function. They have their function as servants of Krishna. You
How
can see
demons
like
are serving? How Maharaj
how
they serve Maharaj in spiritual world demons?
they are punishing the devious so that their deviation can be corrected. You have to see like that. They are doing so many things so that those who are not doing things properly can be punished. And then by that punishment, change their mentality, recognizing, oh, what I'm doing is causing me so much suffering. Huh? Causing me so much. Somebody has to be causing the suffering. Somebody is suffering. Somebody has to be causing that. So those who are causing that suffering, they are also serving to bring that person back to the right position. And that way, the whole thing becomes spiritual, all positive, helping us. Okay, what time? 2:30. All right, any comment, question from all of you?
I have a question on the current events, so-called. So I have friends, a couple. They're over 60 years old, maybe like 64, 5, and he is older. Now, with this coronavirus, they traveled to France in the beginning of the month. Then they traveled to Oklahoma. Then they traveled to Alabama. Now, when I see it, it makes me feel outraged. Now, you just mentioned that when you see something bad in other people, it means that you're bad. Now, I don't exhibit this behavior. I disapprove their behavior, which makes me like outrageous towards them. But like, how do you put together this people doing bad thing? But as you read, it's like if I see and if judge it as bad, it reflects me as bad.
Well, I would look at it this way. Why did they do those things? What did they have in mind in doing those things? Was there some bad intention in them? Was there some ignorance in them? What was their motive? What kind of, that isn't necessarily they had some evil intention or unintelligent intention or what? I don't know the
Well,
whole story about them.
I can clarify that they've been traveling like mad for already like 3 years.
Yeah,
Constantly traveling for pleasure. For
yeah,
pleasure. It's not that they have to do something. That's just their lifestyle now. But what
right.
makes angry with them is their ignorance and disrespect towards other people because they went abroad to France where they have the pandemic situation worse than over here, and now they're traveling here to the
Uh,
place, and then they complain. And how I know it, because they distribute emails to like over 20 people. But oh, we went there. Can you imagine that? All people who well, complaining that we had the list of 10 venues and events that we wanted to go and visit, but everything was closed. Can you imagine that?
uh. Well, I mean, I could see it also as very stupid to do something like that,
Uh,
or I
no,
can
but
also see another thing,
uh-huh.
and that is, I mean, they may be, some people know that, look, I am protected by God. Anything that has to happen to me, He will arrange that. If that has to happen, then it will happen. If it doesn't have to happen, then how it'll never happen to me.
Mhm.
That can be a very high stage of realization also,
Uh-huh.
where one feels themselves under the protection of the divine, and whatever comes to me, that I deserve, and what doesn't come to me, then I don't deserve it. Uh, then that's just what he knows. What is that? He can be in that high stage of, not that they are in that high stage, but it can possibly be also. That's an enviable stage if they are in that. Yeah. Uh, like Nityananda Prabhu.
Yeah,
Nityananda
but
Prabhu can do anything. He can go and get drunk. He can go and associate with women of low nature, and still he doesn't get impure. Right?
but my question is like the final question is like when you just read and you contemplated on that if you find something wrong in people, it
Hmm.
means it's in you that.
Yes. Yes. Like I
I
said,
mean, I don't
a
understand
person
that.
who can think in a high way, in a
Uh-huh.
very high way, may not find any fault because he may think they are very highly situated. So whatever I'm thinking in opposite that, that is my thinking.
Mhm,
Understand? It's coming from my thinking.
mhm,
It's up to me how I want to see.
mhm,
According to the height and development of my own awareness, I might see them in different ways and think, well, I don't know for sure what they are. Uh, Govinda Maharaj always used to tell us that. Don't criticize others. You don't know. They may be Vaishnava.
mhm,
We told the story of that one Brahmin who came to the man who was selling meat, and he had some shaligram shila on a scale,
mhm,
and he was using that to weigh the meat. And the Brahmin thought, oh, you are making such a big offense to shaligram, using them as counterweights for meat. But then when he took them home, they complained to him, look, we were having fun swinging on that balance. Why
mhm,
you took us from there? Okay. No, we don't know. We may
mhm,
criticize someone who may be very high and highly situated, and he can do anything that such a
mhm,
person can do without any effect coming to them. Uh,
mhm,
without any effect. And also in the Gita, Krishna explains that if you can, even a devotee engages in abominable activities, if another devotee can see, no, this person is a devotee, they're not touched by all those activities. They're not to be blamed for those activities. That's my seeing. The devotee may engage in so many things, but I have to see that he is a devotee. Then such a person who can see in that way, he is a pure devotee. Uh, One who doesn't see the fault, uh,
mhm.
but he thinks, oh no, this is a devotee. Anything is okay for him. I am not going to find fault with a devotee.
Well,
If
though,
some
well, I'm
defect
not.
may be there, but I won't see that. Huh?
Uh-huh,
Another
uh-huh,
one, another idea. That Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmani Gavi Hastani Suni Chaiva Swapakecha Pandita Samadarshana. Another verse that says, devotee doesn't look at the bodily situation. Ah, the Brahmin, the cow, the elephant, the dog eater,
mhm,
all these he sees equally. They're all souls. He doesn't look at the bodily situation or what the body is engaged in. He
mhm,
sees the spirit within the everything, the soul within everything. Then what is to judge on that level? Even
mhm,
Krishna told Arjuna, you can kill these people, or teachers and whatnot, because they are enemies to him in this life. Then don't. They're going to die anyhow. So see in an equal way. Even all these things of the material world may be so wicked or whatever, but Krishna is taking care of it all. Huh? Not my business to be the judge and the jury. He
mhm,
is seeing it all, and he is taking care of everyone. No problem. Huh? They're not going to cheat Krishna. They may cheat themselves and others, but Krishna knows what's going on. A devotee can see with that kind of vision. He doesn't get upset by all these things. He has a high, more transcendental position he's occupying, more transcendental stance.
Mhm.
And then he comes to understand things and of the higher world. The higher world. He lives there in that atmosphere. And there is much activity in that atmosphere. That life is real life also. And there's relationship and everything in that world. When we come to that world, we will be able to see those devotees who are there. And they will be able to see us and relate to us, and we relate to them. And that is the transcendental world. We want to aim for that as much as we can, by association like that. And we will see. Our vision will change. Everything will change. The whole world will change. And we enter the spiritual plane, the world of spirit, sat-cit-ananda, Vaikuntha, the world beyond all anxiety. It exists, and it has to begin with us to get there. We are there. If only we can remove all the coverings of Maya, this world that cover us, prevent us from seeing that.
Maharaj,
Yes.
Maharaj, we see in Mahaprabhu's devotees, all are of different natures, and even Prahlad, even Narad, even Lord Shiva, so many, Hanuman, they all joined Mahaprabhu's mission and Mahaprabhu's movement and Mahaprabhu's Leela. Do all of them have also their position and role in Vrindavan?
Yes. They are all residents of the eternal residence, Parishad. Then they have some residents there. Why not?
We don't hear any pastime of them with Krishna. That's why I asked you about how Hanuman and Narad or like Shivji Maharaj. I mean, we know that they went and they've
Can you
been
make
denied
those?
like Shivji Maharaj. But the pastime in Vrindavan, we don't hear much about all these devotees. Prahlad and even Angad came.
Okay, Maharaj,
Sound
about
problem.
here, other
Sound
than
problem.
Shanta Maharaj is muted. Huh? Shanta Maharaj is muted.
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
They were saying they couldn't hear anything.
Huh? Hello.
Some people were saying they couldn't hear you speaking anymore.
Oh, actually, I was saying that all these devotees like Prahlad and even Angad, who is Lord Ram's associate, so many devotees they came. Their pastime in Vrindavan we don't hear much, but we know that they have a lot of pastime. Like we know that Satyabhama and Jagadananda Pandit did lot of pastime with Mahaprabhu, but all those things in Vrindavan we don't hear much. How they are participating there.
Krishna's pastimes are going on. Maybe not in this universe, but we know they're eternally going on somewhere. So we are in the presence of other pastimes. And according to our vision, we can see those pastimes going on at every moment. Even, what is that? Sridhar Maharaj told that the pastimes of Mahaprabhu are going on in Navadvip still. Those who are pure can see that. Some verse is there, I can remember now, where he says that. That when we get the grace of Guru and Krishna, Mahaprabhu, we can see his pastimes are eternally going on there. He told that Apaniya,
অদ্যাপি লীলা করে গৌর রায় কোন কোন ভাগ্যবান দেখিবারে পায় মহারাজ
okay, so there, everything is going on. We have to see. It's up to us to see that. Huh? How to explain that to anyone? It's like you see what you are supposed to see, what you are conditioned to see, what you are qualified to see. Just like some qualified man, qualified person who knows how to appreciate art. Some educated man may know how to appreciate art. And they go and they see all these artworks, artistic works, and they can tell that this is a good artist, this is not some fake or whatever. How do they see that? We go in and we see something we may even not even consider it art, but they can see it because they've been trained. So it's not that you just see something like that and you understand it. Depending on the qualification, we may see things differently. I see differently. So how a devotee sees and how an ordinary person sees, there may be two different things. I like that story of Gorkashore. Gorkashore Das Babaji, yeah? I think it was him. He used to walk like a crazy man, only a kopin, wearing a kopin, walking, and he had a crooked stance because his body was distorted by old age, and walking like that. And he was oblivious to generally people. He would, he would sit in the place where people would urinate and sit there. And why you're sitting there? Because people would come to him. They know he was some kind of saint. They would come to him and ask, "Oh, Babaji, give me your blessing. Give me this. Give me that. I want a child. I want this. I want to marry." And all these mundane things, they would come to him for some boon for themselves. He didn't want to have anything to do with those people. So he'd go in a urinary place, and he'd sit there where people would dump their garbage and dead bones or whatever. And so people didn't like to go there because of the smell or whatever. And at least he would be peaceful there. It was like that, avadut. Avadut means unconcerned with outside worldly external things. Anyhow, sometimes he would walk through the village, and the young boys, they would see him, and they would throw stone at him because they thought he was some crazy man, and they wanted to. That's the nature of the young boys. They like to do that. And so when he was walking, he was thinking, "Hey, Krishna, you are such a naughty boy. I'm going to tell Mother Yashoda on you." In other words, he saw Krishna and everything. He didn't see them as naughty boys. No, he saw them, but he thought that Krishna is behind that. "You are such a naughty boy. I'm going to tell Mother Yashoda on you that you are not acting nicely." So how one sees things is up to that individual. It's possible to see like that. It's possible to see Krishna's pastimes in Navadvip still going on. One has that high vision. So it is up to us. If we are more convinced about that, then you have the real power to change, to see that world. They are privileged. They will have the privilege. Thoroughly pure. Pure-hearted.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj. All right. Other questions?
Maharaj, Hare Krishna. This is
Thoughts?
what is the best way to increase the Sukriti, Maharaj? How can we increase Sukriti?
He's asking what is the best way to increase Sukriti, to get Sukriti. Huh? Best way is to serve the Vaishnavas.
Yeah.
And Sukriti means to serve the Vaishnavas. And we can get the service of a Vaishnava, then that is Sukriti, and not karma. And no more karma. It's based now as it becomes merit, spiritual merit. Our spiritual bank account will be filled with that kind of service to Vaishnavas. Even if someone does not know that you are, that there's a Vaishnava, and they do some service, like some people like to feed other people, huh? If somehow a Vaishnava comes and takes the food that that person is offering, without that person knowing, then they get Gyata Sukriti. They also get Sukriti. So by serving the people in general, we may come upon a Vaishnava unknowingly and also do some service for them. And we'll get some Sukriti by that. What to speak of Gyata Sukriti? Means by knowingly serving the Vaishnavas. Knowingly, even unknowingly, we can get benefit. By knowingly doing that, we will get much benefit. Our spiritual life will increase, improve.
Because unknowingly you actually put forward your effort, right?
I can't hear. What did you say?
I said because where my mic is, maybe here. I said because when you do unknowingly, you just do it, but when you do knowingly, you put effort into doing it consciously.
Yes. Yes, that will be better. That will be better. But anyway, any way you do, then Krishna will take account of what we have done, and we will get his blessings. And in that way, we will be able to increase our service more and more until we come to the world of service, the service world, the world of Vaikuntha, the world of Goloka. According to the intensity and the thoroughness of our service, then we will come to higher and higher plane in the spiritual realization, world of spiritual reality. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
What time? Now 3 o'clock. I think we will now have prasadam.
Yeah.
I have dal with rice.
Oh, good. That's very nice. Bengal, that's
Maharaj, we are very happy to
popular.
hear you so clearly.
Yes, Maharaj, it's wonderful. You're on the train and still you can hear me. Shanta Maharaj and Muni Maharaj are traveling to Bangalore on the train in India, and they're able
We
to
are going to
participate.
quarantine ourselves, Maharaj.
Yes, good. Yes, we have to be careful. So Mangala Didi is there also? She was
I
on,
think she already went for rest.
Okay. What time is it now?
It's 1 o'clock. It's almost 12:31.
1 o'clock in the morning there. Thank you, Thank you, Maharaj, for being here. All right.
Muni Maharaj wanted to ask something to you.
Okay, yes, please. Muni Maharaj has a question. What's that? 1 minute.
Dandavat Maharaj.
Dandavat, Muni Maharaj. 1 minute. 1 minute.
You spoke about the reason and said that sometimes reason is not sufficient to know higher will. So and I found Srila Sadhu Thakur also mentioning this, that there are many philosophers in the world and they can be termed as transcendentalists. Yet, still, for them, when they want to describe God, it becomes imagination. So he stressed the spiritual process given in the scriptures and by the devotional system, Mahaprabhu system. So can you elaborate a little bit on that, Maharaj?
Maharaj, can you please just say one more time what you'd like Sripad Puri Maharaj to elaborate on?
Yeah,
Uh,
it was not clear actually.
uh, the way in this world people gain knowledge is by sensations, by reason, feeling. And some of,
Yes, Bodhi Maharaj, what is it?
I mean, people of the world, they try to gain knowledge by, say,
Yes.
sensory processes, by reason,
Yes.
and some of them are also transcendent, like they want to know about God through that process. But Srila Saraswati Thakur says it becomes an imagination unless.
Yes.
So this I wanted to know, Maharaj. He actually Saraswati Thakur talks about the Mahaprabhu's regulatory process, spiritual mercy, and how the Gaudiya Vaishnavism is a real process for spiritual conception. That's
exactly. Yes, correct. That we have to understand. This is what he's saying. Muni Maharaj is saying.
Can you repeat his question, because I didn't understand anything.
I'm going to explain. I'm going to explain what he asked. He said many people are trying by sensory means, by logic, by reason, trying to understand something about spiritual life. But Bhakti Siddhanta told all those processes are all just imagination. What seems to be real to us, by knowing by experience of the senses, by reasoning, by logic, all these things, they seem so important to us. But he said, Bhakti Siddhanta said, that's all imagination. There's all the work of the imagination. To understand the spiritual does not require any of those things. It is very hard how to understand that. It's beyond understanding. Those things will not help us. There is a genuine connection between the faith world, the faith of the heart of the devotee, and the spiritual world. That connection is there. That reality is there. And those things can be only understood on that platform. There is transmission. There is everything in that world. And they're talking, communication, understanding. But that's a different type of thing. And if one can only come into that world, there the transmission becomes of transcendental nature. And then we can understand those things properly. Otherwise, by utilizing the lower processes of sense and logic and reasoning of that nature, we won't be able to get there. We won't be able to touch those things. Just imagination is not real. Not real. So that world will open up only to those who have been given that mercy. And it's there. It's like we see little sparks of that in this world. Sometimes they call it inspiration. Some scientist is working on some problem and he can't figure out the solution. All of a sudden, some inspiration will come. And some inspiration will come and he'll be able to understand how to solve the problem. Where did that come from? And if we analyze in any little way, like Newton, he gave his theory of the solar system. Many people don't know. They have made it so mechanical and mathematical nowadays. But many people don't know that when Newton came up with his theory of the solar system, he knew that God had to be there. He knew that the solar system doesn't just form like that by some particles coming together and making it. He understood there was some influence higher than the physical nature that had to be involved in making the solar system so stable like that for billions of years, as the scientists say. It doesn't just run like that without any problems. Can't. Too complicated. And to even form the solar system in such a arbitrary way as the scientists say, it's impossible. And anyone who has a little brain, they can understand. These human beings, they don't come from some series of accidents, from molecules. We didn't come by some good, many accidents coming in the right way. How is it possible? Anyone with intelligence should be able to understand that. Then all these miracles are here. You always tell about the grass. Nobody knows how it's made. They really don't know how it's growing and all that. Everything here is miraculous. So much evidence we have that something greater, so much powerful, beyond just the ordinary things is working. So that is there. That world is there. But they don't know how to enter that. And you try to enter with your reasoning, you create all these imaginations. There's Darwin's theory, atomic theory, this quantum theory, that theory, this theory. It's all imagination. It's not real. We're going to publish one book. Theory, yes. We're going to publish one book, Idols of the Mind. We're publishing one book from some things I've said, Idols of the Mind. It's all idols, false gods, false explanations. So that's there. That's imagination. And the real thing, not told, not understood. The real thing is the Achintya Shakti. The wonderful and inconceivable energies of the Lord are working always. And devotee has a clear understanding of that. And he's living in that kind of understanding. Whatever you want to call that, realization. Then, what else, Maharaj?
Maharaj, I want to know, in this world, we have this mechanical things and chemical things, and then also there is, this biological systems. But in the spiritual world also, there seems to be artifacts, but there seems to be personalities there. Like we have, these bullock carts we see in Krishna's pastime, and the bullock carts are being built, but yet there seems to be our personalities there. And we also know that Krishna plays different colors, like we have color festivals. There are chemicals also there. So how that plane and those things, those systems, which apparently looks like artifacts, are different from the artifacts here.
Or you want to know how artifacts are different from natural things?
Artifacts in material world, Maharaj, and in the spiritual world also there seems to be artifacts, because like there is bullock carts, it must be constructed, but there seems to be the bullock cart itself, it seems to be a personality there. And there are also different colors and others, chemical systems also we see in spiritual world, but here the nature seems to be completely different than there.
Well, Maharaj is asking, here we make different cars and computers and so many artifacts. Artifact means man-made things. In the spiritual world, they have bullock carts and other things that they make also, pots and whatnot. Then what's the difference between those artifacts and the ones here? So
when we get there, we will know.
Huh?
When we get there, we will know.
So Zana said, when we get there, we'll know. That's a good answer. I like that. You'll understand when you get there. Basically, I would say that world is made of sat-cit-ananda, ananda, consciousness. That world is made of consciousness. So it's different than we have here. different in that way. What can I say? There it is made of unconsciousness. There it is made of consciousness. Chit Shakti.
I think it's the same way. Like I'm looking out of the window now, and like when you walk outside and you breathe air, and the world above that is surrounded by air is one. When you go into the ocean, sea, you go into a totally different realm. So,
Yes,
so the artifacts that we have here in this life, they are different from
yes,
the
yes,
spiritual life. And
yes.
that's why I said probably that, that when we get there, we will know the difference. Because
Uh,
if you
so
cannot
a good
explain it
answer.
until you experience.
Uh, good answer. You heard what she said, Maharaj?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. All right. So different atmosphere, different reality. Uh, okay. Kushum, you have anything to say? I can see.
There was a question I had. You were talking about
Oh, 1 minute.
Maharaj.
Yes, go ahead. I want everyone to see you. They can't see you. You see
He was
Kusham?
speaking. He was
Yeah.
speaking about
Bring
the
it closer to
spiritual world
the
also
viewer.
have demonic beings. Are they much different there than they are here in this material world? Do they have a sense of spirituality, or they it's just as demonic as it is here?
She's asking about the demons in the spiritual world.
Yeah.
What is their nature compared to the demons here in the material world?
Oh, they're much worse. You know, you heard of Putana, Trinavarta, Bakashura. Huh?
Right.
They're all.
Would they? No, okay, they're much worse. Okay.
They can fight with Krishna. They can come in contact with Krishna. That we even can't do. Huh?
Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur saying, Asura Sakala Paila Charana Vinada Thakila Bhakti.
What
Even
does that mean?
demons at the feet of Krishna, but
Ah,
Bhaktivinoda Thakur is staying here lamenting.
ah, yes. You're telling Bhakti we know told they are able to touch the feet of Krishna, but here we are anxious to be able to do that. We are crying to be able to touch the feet of Krishna. Those demons are doing everything with him. Uh-huh. So they're not ordinary persons, not ordinary demons. The conscious world, like Zana was saying, the birds can live in the sky, and the fish can live in the ocean. They don't know the difference between those two worlds. They can't understand. One is in the sky animal, one is the water animal. Uh-huh. So the transcendental world and the material world different. It's hard to understand the difference. But in their spiritual world is the conscious world. Here we have some things, we are conscious, but the world seems to be unconscious. There everything is conscious. It's all within the conscious world. The different world than here. In that way. Uh, when we come to the conscious world ourselves, within our own self, it's there. Then we can understand that world, how it's different from this world. Yes?
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Then, I done what? Dhanyavad, pranams to all of you.
Dandavat Maharaj. Maharaj, can we have some sangas more than because we have no other activities or other activities.
So do it. You give Sangha. You can also talk to the other devotees and keep them in touch. Huh? That'd be nice, Maharaj. I'm getting
Maharaj,
old.
can we hear from you?
For me, I'm getting too old for all these things. I can do so much. Maybe once a week I can do this. Anyhow, yeah, what can I say? I say the same thing over and over again. Just
Maharaj,
chant
always
Hare
it is new, Maharaj. Always it is new.
Hare Krishna.
Ek
Anyhow,
tattva bandhanate nitya navva bhav.
you also can speak and talk to the devotees, encourage them. Okay? Thank you, Maharaj.
We are very happy to hear, Maharaj. It was so clear.
Okay, good. Yes, I'm happy that happened. I'm happy they are able to get the communication so nice. It's also very nice to be able to see everybody. Dandavad Rasraj Prabhu, Dandavad Ajay Prabhu, Dandavad Sana Didi, Dandavad Kusum Didi, Dandavad Shanta Maharaj, Muni Maharaj, Dandavad Samangala. She's not here anymore. Anyhow, Dandavad Hare Krishna.
Right.